Hi guys, this is Dr. Blevins with Enilda Clinic at enildaclinic.com, and today I am going to talk to all of you perfectionistic parents out there. These next few weeks are going to be sort of hard, and I know that you're probably the ones who had a schedule the day that the school announced that they were shutting down, and your schedule is by the 30-minute mark, and you have everything in there, every subject. You know, you have leisure time and family fun time and exercise time, and you have your work time, and you have everything in there, and you have big ambitions, and your kids won't get behind on anything. And I feel like things might go awry over the next few weeks. And so this video is for you guys and to help potentially give you some support so that you feel good if things do go awry. So what I want you to think about is that the situation is changed from our normal everyday life. And so none of us can predict exactly what will happen, either financially or, you know, as far as our own wellness or the wellness of the ones we love, or when the kids will go back to school, or how we will work with our jobs, our clients, or whatever might happen. There's so many things that are unknown. That can feel super scary, and that's okay, right? Like, we can acknowledge the scariness of that and feel those sensations in our body. That's an important feeling that you do acknowledge, because it will create certain responses in you that will come out throughout the day whenever you're interacting with your kids, whenever you're trying to help your kids cope with their own feelings, or whenever you're trying to cope with your feelings. And if you don't recognize the fact that sometimes you just might be stressed out, feeling scared, anxious, then you won't be able to accommodate for that feeling. And so even though I sound super woo-woo right now, it's important that you acknowledge that there are a lot of uncertainties, and uncertainty brings a lot of physiological responses, and people cope with those in different ways. And so recognizing how you tend to cope is super important as well. Now, going back to the perfectionist portion of the video, I want you to kind of think about what are times in your past history where you maybe have had a thought in your head. Maybe it was a rule-governed thought, so things should go this way, or I have to do this, or my kids will do this thing, things like that, right? It's a lot of the woulda, coulda, shouldas, the things where we're trying to determine the reality of our situation, even though the actual reality is we don't have control over it. And so what I'm really trying to pull apart here is the difference between the language in our mind and the actual physical reality our bodies live in. That will be really important over the next few weeks as you're experiencing the dramatic changes that we're all experiencing in our day-to-day lives where our bodies live. But your mind is having potentially, not for everybody and not always, but potentially moments where you're living by the rules that you created and worked well for you during the normal everyday life is grand routine that was happening a month ago or 2 months ago, depending on when you might watch this video. And it's important that you recognize that if you say to yourself a rule-governed behavior about how life will be for you or your family, that it might lead you to actually have a heightened level of stress or anxiety, which could lead you to have an exacerbated type of emotion and processing behavior that may or may not be helpful in the moment. It's hard to say because I don't know who I'm talking to, and this is just a general education video, but I'm just basically trying to talk you through some self-awareness here. specifically for people who might have a tendency to really want to have it together. I'm kind of predicting those might be the people who are watching this video and really wanting to try to be prepared, or maybe you've gone through a few days and you're starting to say, actually, I want to have a plan. And so maybe that's why you're watching the video. I don't know. But if you're having the sense of, I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to get it just right, I'm here to break the news to you that you probably won't get it exactly how you have it in your mind. And that's okay. Now, this is the positive side of not getting it just right, is that accept that for a moment. Imagine in your life over the next few weeks that you created this wonderful, beautiful plan. And if you've watched my last few videos about coping with the COVID-19 virus while the kids are at home from school, then you know that it's all about planning. That's what we've been talking about. And let's imagine that the plan just flies out the window and things are not going the way you anticipated. How would it feel in that moment when it's mass chaos in your home? The pets are going crazy. The kids are going crazy. Your spouse is going crazy. And you are going crazy. Yeah? What if you just accept the fact that there will be that day, right? Where you're stir crazy, where you're bored, where you feel anxious one day, where there are just going to be up and down emotions. What if you just say, yeah, you know what? Actually, I'm going to create a space on the bus for those feelings. And if you do that, you still have other spots on the bus for your planner. You have a spot on the bus for the loving, kind parent, for the parent who is still working at home trying to get their job duties done. You have a spot for this new homeschool parent that never existed before, who's growing and developing. And so you have a spot on the bus for all of these parts of you, including the ones that are uncomfortable. And you can give a moment of time to each of those parts of you. And you can feel those feelings, and you can even anticipate, if you have a spouse, you can anticipate with that person or with your partner, or maybe a friend if you're coordinating with them, or a neighbor, whoever it might be. And if not, if it's just you and you're managing the homestead at the helm alone, then, even creating contingency plans for yourself, like locking yourself in the bathroom, which is okay whenever you need a moment of peace and quiet, and allowing yourself to just feel those feelings and saying, you know what, this part of me on the bus needs that moment. And then calming it down, giving it a hug, and saying, I know that this part of me is anxious or scared or angry or frustrated that the plan didn't go the way that it needed to go. Imagine a part of your life in the past where you might have had a rule that you broke and it didn't work the way you needed it to, the way you wanted it to, the way you had anticipated and planned for it to, and how you responded to yourself. What did you say to yourself whenever it didn't work out? Maybe you didn't get the grade you wanted, the job you wanted, the raise you wanted. Something didn't work the way you wanted in your relationship, something like that. Most of the people I've worked with say something not particularly nice to themselves. And so if you're imagining that you're creating space for this part of yourself, this uncertainty and anxiety and fear, and you're allowing it to sit on the bus with all the other parts of you, and when it starts to get amped up, you're going to calm it down the same way you would your kids. How is that response different? I imagine sitting beside it, giving it a warm hug, and saying, it'll be okay. This is stressful, and it's understandable that you're upset. And after a little bit, that feeling starts to calm down. And then the other parts of you get to amp up again. Your planner, your take charge, self, all those other parts that I bet that you really like whenever they're in charge. And so this is just a way of thinking and a way of kind of taking perspective to step back from your thoughts and not letting them rule your reality. Because we're all kind of in a new situation right now, and recognizing that we can all give each other some kindness, that we're all going to have that little piece of ourselves that's on the bus that's going to get worked up, and it's not going to be the piece of ourselves that we're the most proud of, but it's going to be the piece of ourselves that needs a hug. And so if you recognize it in each other, being compassionate and kind, and don't give a hug, give an elbow bump, or give a kind word, give a helping hand, right? And doing things to calm the pathway so that we can all make it through this time might be the way to help us all to feel better. And it can be the way to help the perfectionistic mindset that is going to have a hard time because all of this is uncertain. It can help that perfectionistic mindset to make it through. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Sign up for the email list if you're at my website at enildaclinic.com, and you can get these videos in your email as they're coming out. And I will see you next time. All right, bye guys.